What's Going On by Christina Anderson. Introduction. Hello, my name is Christina Anderson, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure why I'm writing this book. If you walk into any bookshop in Australia, you will find many books on spirituality, self-help and religion written by well-respected authors of our time. I myself have a set of bookshelf with hundreds of books written on this subject. However, whenever anyone asks me for my recommendation on what to read that explains these concepts, I'm often stumped as what to recommend. There is no one book for me which summarises and simplifies the whole concept. In fact, some of the best information has been discovered in writings that are really quite heavy and involved, not a good starting point for someone wanting to stick their toe in the water, so to speak. So after much thought, I figured I was as good as anyone to write one, and I believe so passionately in the principles explained here that I was motivated to share this information with you. This book is not heavy reading. The concepts may be really heavy, but if you wish to look deeper into the ideas, then there are hundreds of brilliant writings on the subject. I have not written this book for the well-read spiritualist who is comfortable with the many and varied published authors on the subject, although I do believe there's much they can gain from it. However, I have written this book specifically for the average Australian who does not tend to read these types of books very often. It is worth noting that many of the ideas outlined here are mentioned repeatedly in traditional holy books such as the Christian Bible, the Gnostic Gospels, and similar texts. Most of these concepts are not new. In recent years, we've been increasingly exposed to alternative interpretations of historical views. As I go through my day, I hear references to what I believe to be the truth everywhere in popular culture. It's being talked about through music, through both fictional and non-fictional writings, through the movies and even through TV. The basic concepts are coming from many areas and they're all pointing to the same truth. There are some that say this is no accident. Humanity is on the brink of a quantum change in understanding, and I hope they are right. At this point, I need to convey to you that I am not a philosopher, a church elder or a minister. I am the very person you probably wouldn't notice in the street. I'm an average Australian mother of 3. I have worked most of my adult life, married 3 times, and hence I've been a single mother several times along the way. I've been broke and struggling on a sole parent pension. I've also worked many years as a bookkeeper for small business. I've been a salesperson in several industries, and I've been a business owner myself of up to 4 businesses at one time. During that recent period of my life, I managed to build our net worth as a family up to well over $1 million, including 5 rental properties and a beautiful new home. Then we lost a lot in just over 3 weeks, and we're still living within the fallout of that experience 3 years later. I have lived in the city, the country, by the coast, on the river, and way out in the bush with no power. As my life has unfolded, I've been exposed to many different experiences. However, I'm blessed to say I've never managed to get myself into any serious trouble. Somehow, I've always managed to move forward. I married my boyfriend at the age of 18, one of my stupid mistakes. I was far too young. And I had my first child at 22. Definitely not a mistake. Life was fairly uncomplicated, and I wasn't searching for answers to anything really. I was just busy being young and adapting to life as a mother. When I was 24, my husband and I separated, and I ended up marrying a man who'd already been a good friend of mine for several years, and we went on to have 2 more children. The catalyst that really got me thinking was brought upon me by my eldest child, as is so often the case. He was 5 years old and had just started in a Catholic primary school in Adelaide. We were living with my daughter's father, however we were not married yet. It was a peaceful Sunday morning. Having worked all week, we were having the standard Sunday morning sleep-in when I heard my son banging on the door in quite an upset state. I flew out of bed to find out what the issue was, only to be confronted by a child sobbing and telling me I was going to hell, and he was seriously upset about it. Well, I suppose it was Sunday, why not hassle Mum out and declare she's going to hell? I tried to fob it off, but he was so upset. This called for a serious chat, so we got dressed and went to the local park. I remember asking myself how I could address this concern that the nuns at the primary school had instilled in him. His mother and stepfather were not married, and yet they were living together. In his young mind, the nuns were right, and we were going to hell. What I actually discussed with him amazed me. I had not realised myself until that point how I see the world. The first thing I tried to explain was that sometimes adults think and believe things, but that does not mean they are right. He responded by suggesting all adults knew what they were talking about, and that if an adult said it, it must be true and honest. Wow, let's back up here, little friend. No, that is not the case. In fact, adults are extremely skilled at lying and spinning the truth. Okay then, he said, give me an example of something you've told me that's not the truth. How am I supposed to trust you if I don't know if you're telling me the truth? Shit. How old are you? I thought about it for quite a while and then decided he was right. How was I going to build a relationship of trust with this child if I lied to him? Okay, are you sure of this? I asked. Of course he was. Well, there's no such thing as Santa Claus. That sat him on his ass for a moment until he said, what else? Okay, there's no Easter Bunny or Tooth Fairy either. His answer, which was so much the child, was, so you put the money there then? Yes, I admitted. Well, okay, you can just keep doing that then, I suppose. I still will get money for my teeth, won't I? He asked, presenting me with a sheepish smile. And so it went on. I tried to find any area that I or any other adult had lied or exaggerated the truth. Eventually I gave him this theory to live by. I said, in this world there are nature's laws such as gravity that are unchangeable, and we must live by them. Then there are moral laws where you personally have to decide what is right and wrong for you. Then there are society's laws, which are not necessarily right, just the opinions of lots of people. Just because society says it is right does not make it right. You must live within nature's laws, you must live within your own moral laws, which will change as you grow, but you do not have to accept society's laws. I explained to him that if we all did that, then black Americans would still be slaves and you could still be burnt at the stake for being a witch. Society's opinions are not always a reflection of the truth. In fact, history has shown that they rarely are. At one point in time, all scientists agreed the world was flat. It's up to you to know in your mind what is right and wrong. The chat went on for about an hour, and I think it had as profound effect on me as it did on him. Since that time, I've been asking the big questions myself and searching for answers. What I do know is that we are all searching for the same thing. The only thing any human is searching for is peace and happiness. All our dreams and all our goals amount to one thing. We want to experience the feeling of being safe, secure, happy, respected and loved. In other words, we want to experience peace. We have all been told many times that peace and happiness comes from within. Everything we desire in this world is simply to give us this sense of peace and happiness. For me now, peace and happiness can exist amongst chaos and uncertainty, poverty and wealth, health and illness, but I never understood this until I saw for myself the truth in why we are here and how the universe works. Once I understood that truth, the peace and happiness followed even during the down times. As you read this book, you will feel at times that the concepts really make sense to you, and you will be able to see the logic in them. You may also feel that you actually already knew that. That is a sign you are reading what you also know to be true. Sometimes you may feel the complete opposite, and that is also good, as you recognize that that is not something you feel to be truth for you. I have read many books on this subject, and even some of my favorite authors will come up with a concept that simply does not sit right with me. In that situation, I simply read on and file the information, which helps to give me a more defined picture of what I believe to be true. Often when I read on, I find it somehow fits together in the end anyway. As I write, you will find I explain concepts and then follow them up with personal examples. This is because on the surface, some of these concepts appear to be quite simplistic. However, without consideration, you could really lead yourself astray, as I've done so myself in the past. Finally, I thank you very much for reading this book, not because it is my book. The honest truth is I really don't care one way or another who finds their way to these writings, because that's not my job to worry about. The universe will decide who can benefit from my thoughts. All I know is I feel privileged to get to a point in my life where I can define my beliefs in such an orderly manner. If you can use anything here to help you find peace and happiness, then I'll be proud there's one more relaxed and mellow human wandering around this country. Australia is a wonderful, wonderful country with all the diversity, beauty, passion and growth we could ask for. It offers an excellent lifestyle. Yes, we bitch and complain on a regular basis, but that's part of the joy of being an Aussie. If we don't like something, we bloody well have the right to say so. I love a good bitch, in fact. Nothing stimulates me more than a great political debate. However, unless we want to turn into a country of unhappy whingers, we really need to understand how we fit into the universal picture and work with the universe to find peace and happiness in our own lives, no matter what our situation. Happy reading.